Hi, y'all.
He is live now.
Y'all can hear my Discord. Let me go. All right. Hey, now it's showing two people. Those of you that have the link, you can come up if you would like. The last thing I need to see if YouTube is behaving today. I hope y'all had a happy Tuesday. I hope you're having a good week. I'm also going to figure out why I'm echoing. Let me see. Hold on. Let's see. Can y'all still hear me? Hi, Chica. Hey, Miss Paige. I'm so excited that y'all are here. This is our second installment of the prize. So I took a bit of a hiatus last week. Um, just this show is going to be what do you call it? We're going to have lots of transparency. So for transparency for me, I have recently been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which is like a chronic pain. Um, if you know me and you know how much like I was a workout-aholic and love teaching wellness and fitness and yoga and spin and all those kinds of things. But right now, because physically I just can't give what I would like, I want to start having conversations about Black women, Black men, how we can be in community together, how we can grow, how we can be accountable. So I know I often hear a lot of people say their parents weren't married, so they never seen marriage, blah, 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 blah. Well, there is a show called Love and Marriage in Huntsville. And when I tell you, I have never disliked men that I haven't met more. Like I thought Mr. Biles was pretty vile. But no. Let's see. Neck, let me see. Are you on, Neck? Okay, there we go.
Can you hear
Added to
me?
the page. Yes. Hey. Hello, hello,
Hi,
hello.
hi.
Hi, hi.
I'm glad
So
I made it this time.
I know I am too. So I know you know enough of the storyline to be able to give some context. Love and Marriage in Huntsville is, I guess you would call it a Black reality TV show, where there's couples. We've seen people get married, we've seen divorces, we've seen babies, we've definitely seen infidelity. There's a lot of variations of marriage. I'd like to say, like, I think mm, Marsala is probably the most traditional. And I also think that they possibly have the best marriage, not because it's like the healthiest, but as a couple, they kind of know their strengths and weaknesses. Um, this show disturbed my spirit in a positive way because I was able to really kind of check out, without it being personal, how different people can show up in relationships and in community. Um, Nak, did you watch any of it and did you like it? And if so, what did you like? And one thing you wish they would have done differently.
So I didn't watch it like from season to season. I've only watched clips here and there because my sister used to watch it.
Mhm.
From the little I did see, I did not like the show. I feel like it's taking advantage of the state of how, like, I guess marriage in the Black community is viewed, and just monetizing it and not worried about the representation or what type of representations it's putting out there, or even about the health of the participants on the
Mm.
show. Um, so I personally don't like it. I have issues with all the men. So TLDR,
They
yeah, it's a no for
it,
me, bro.
it is a rough it started off so well, and it was, to me, the first couple of seasons felt very different. Like they weren't just getting into fights to fight. You got to see some real marital issues, then how different people have de- dealt with like infidelity, how they manage the home, who's traditional, who's not. Also being able to see that some of the women are manipulative.
Yeah.
um, it's odd, but I think this is very much true in real life, how all of the men have gotten together and they like Megatron and, lock, stock, they stay on code. It's no issues for anybody. Um, I wish that Black women had that, but I also am unsure if it's healthy to want that, because what we saw, or what I saw, was like the manifestation of us overhyping men, overselling marriage, to the point to where there's someone who is actually fighting cancer, breast cancer, and her husband is mad that they don't have sex like they used to. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just a bit, that was bizarre. Like that was just bizarre. And he's the nice guy. So if you don't know where this series was streamed from, I am Ahmad for Themis and Thought, and or Thought, excuse me. He had a really interesting discussion with some men, and at first I was just like, oh wow, this is really strange. But once I started watching this show, I was able to kind of see each one of the guys that came up, some of their personality traits. Um, I do believe that this show, much like a lot of Black America, is you want to uplift Black men. You don't want to sully the image, yet you don't see a lot of Black men with that same concern for their friends, wives. It gets kind of gully, like and not in a good way. Um, and again, to say that the person that has the best marriage is probably the most delusional woman, and her husband is extremely traditional. And I think because they have those roles
Mm-hmm.
um, fairly laid out, she doesn't, like, she's kind of tiptoeing into corporate America, but you can start to see, which is what I have realized, is most of Black men's success is by proxy to their connection to tether to Black women. I
That's
think,
related.
yeah, I feel like she's a very strong woman, and I don't like to say that. I hate, and I won't say hate, but I would like for Black women to not have to look like Wonder Woman or, Captain America or Captain Marvel. Like, people are just people. Women, specifically Black women, um, tend to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting on this show, to the point to where we can talk about the guys, talk about the couples, and then Miss Page, if you want to enter in comments while we talk it out, I can see that as well. I want to thank Chica, Miss Page, and also Neck Attack for joining. Anybody else, if I didn't see you or say your name, blame the screen, not my heart. I can only respond to what I see. If we start couple to couple, let's start with, do we want to start with Martell or do we want to end with Martell?
Which one is the one you just said where the wife had cancer? What couple was
That
that
is
again?
Maurice. Maurice and Kimmy. Kimmy's been
Let's
a nurse.
end. Let's end with them because I have some comments with them.
Okay. Well, then the first couple that we probably should hop in, the first kind of shocker was Destiny and her husband. We saw Destiny come in. We saw her husband, who was not happy that she had not taken his full name and left hers. And I want to say by season 3, she was divorced. We never saw the dude again. And it was just like, oh, okay. Kind of like if you watched Family Matters, the sister that went upstairs and never came back down. It was like one of those moments. Like, where did he go? Do I see why? No. Was he cheating? Y'all, I'm responding to, if you want to understand what I'm saying. Hey, SJ, hi. Chica, not you crying. How do we say this? Trying to be kind. If nothing else, and I really hate to say it, but I firmly feel like the show itself was trying to protect the image of Black men. And it was a bit odd how they did not have the same respect for the women. Look, you don't have to be kind. It's a hypocrisy. Yes, thank you. So the first couple we should talk about is probably Destiny and her husband, of which, hey, Miss Misha. Hey, London. Hi, y'all. Hi. I Destiny, she's beautiful. You can tell she really loves her son. She's very much about her business. She is very straightforward. And I'm wondering how all of those components worked in her marriage, because it's like we saw old dude and he was complaining about the name change. The next thing we saw, she had her baby, and apparently, I guess 3 weeks after she had her child, her ex-husband filed for divorce, which we all know because we do the stats. We know that it's very rare for a man to file for divorce. So I can't imagine what was happening, but I did not like the lack of transparency there. Like, what happened with this? The next couple, we'll go to couples that are not like features. I would say are Stormy and Courtney Beasley. He's a gentle giant. Now, every time I see him, he has light eyes, and because Miss Paige got me stuck on hazel eyes, like every time I see it, I just can't unsee it. But he's a really, really, really sweet person, to the point to where he talked about his relationship with his father, with his mom, and to see this grown man just cry, it was heartbreaking, but also it felt good to see a man have emotions. But it just broke my heart that this man is married. He's a multimillionaire. He's got a wife he loves. You know, him and his mom seem to be very close. And he still was just literally broke down by not having his father be there. Stormy is a firecracker. I live for Stormy. She is she's really enjoyable. I like the both of them. The Beasleys are super cool. And as far as we know, we haven't seen any infidelity on their side. I don't like how they be playing with these people in their face, especially as a Southerner who has like a Southern drawl. I think a lot of times people are underestimating the intelligence. I'm for sure believe that that's what happened with Melody um, and other people. But um, Paige, her mom is smart. I love that. So they had an impact in the sense of like, technically, he would be like a Pookie and a Ray Ray, whatever that means. But he really was just a genuine dude. He definitely had some smoke for Marceau. Love that for her. Love that for her husband and how he came in and just was not playing a game. He was not playing with his wife. And I really, really respected that, especially after seeing how Mr. Barnes or Simone, that man, how he disrespected her. It was really good to see at least a few Black men that were invested in making a change. The next couple, let's see, we've got Destiny, her husband, and she left since season 5. We have Tiffany and Big Lou. I can't stand Tiffany. She is the epitome of why the one drop rule needs to be revisited. She's very much a Karen. She weaponizes her language, and I watch them as a couple, and I hate to say it, but it's like I don't believe them. I like, they just don't seem believable. Miss Page, or did you believe, she's in the, talking to us via chat, did you believe that Tiffany and Big Lou, yes, London, Tiffany and Big Lou seemed like clout chasers and they were fans of the show? Yeah. And she just inserted herself in a way that it was very uncomfortable. I did not like how she wanted to talk about Stormy. I didn't like how she talked about Kiki. She very much was giving off the like, oh, I can't be friends with you because do you know who I know? And like, girl, go on somewhere. Like, first of all, you're 34 and she looks every bit of 44. This is hypocrisy. I don't have to be nice. Like, she's aging like milk. She's aging like milk. And I do believe that she has some kind of internal energy with the other women that are more melanated. She's not enjoyable. Big Lou seems sweet. I think you can see in him where he'd already had a child, right? They've both been married and divorced. And I think he acquiesced. He had that child with her to kind of give her what she wanted, and that still was not enough. So I just find Tiffany to be a bit annoying. She does start drama, and she's not likable, not for me. And she is my namesake. So I was just like, girl, you got us out here looking raggedy in these streets. She very much is an instigator. So we've done the women. Oh, so the next couple would be Nail and Christopher. I don't know what it is with Nail's voice, but it's weird. It's something, I don't know what it is. It's like a little bit of Fantasia. Like, you know, people that talk like, let me say this. It's hard for me to listen to mature women sound like kids. Like Fantasia, she talks to me, and I don't want to say in a remedial way, but in a sense of like, it's very childlike, and that bothers me. But she's also one of the ones that I think, calls her husband daddy and all that good stuff. No, Miss Page says she can go. So we did Tiffany and Lou. We've done Stormy and Mr. Beasley. The next couple would be Kimmy and Maurice. I really was kind of fooled by Mr. Maurice. I just thought he was just super sweet, but once he started about bringing his son into the house, but he didn't feel like he should like contribute to picking the boy up, dropping him off. He's not very communicative with his wife. um I don't like that. And then he's the one that was also trying to demand intimacy while this lady was going through radiation chemo, losing her hair and all that. He was a lawyer. And what I don't think a lot of people don't understand is when she met him, he clearly was a barber. And then by being with her, he was able to go and get his ESQ Esquire degree. But we know, because the way it was kind of pushed out was like, oh, well, she's had that house. And it's like, no, they got the house together in probably her name. Because we do know that he's talked about the reason that he is working in credit was because his credit was so bad. So again, what I keep seeing is like the Black men that are successful typically have a Black wife, mom, somebody that's behind. Yet I call Maurice, I call him Mr. MLK, because he's always trying to give these impassionate speakers and, oh, this and that, and this is for legacy. I will say one thing that pissed me off was as they were talking about legacy and they had that picture of just the boys and none of the daughters, it felt very much like a lot of Black women are like dismissed and dismissive. Um, I just could not understand why in the heck they wouldn't have put those girls on the board either. That bothered me quite a bit, especially the way that they were talking about, oh, this is for the next generation, and da-da-da. And I'm just like, your daughters are probably going to be the ones running your business if you want them to be, on the up and up. I love that Max said that this is on brand. It is, but it's still, I just didn't like that. Yes, everything is at the expense of a Black woman, always, very much so. So then we only saw like a quick snapshot of like Mark, which is their older brother, who was completely disrespectful. We saw Micah, and Micah is also one of the brothers, but he was kind of in and out. He was helping with a lot of the construction of Kimmy's son's place. So he seemed decent. They really did not highlight a lot of that. The next couple that we should probably talk about is Kiki and I can see it, but I can't place his name. Kiki. Kiki, I don't know how to feel about her. I don't want to get into respectability politics because that's what I felt like they were doing to her, just saying like, oh, well, if we hang around her, what are people going to think? And what about this? And what about that? And it was just like, girl, and I don't mean to say it as if it's like an excuse, but she's addicted to prescription pills and pain because she had a bad injury. Like, she's not out here smoking crack. Like, so I don't really like how some of the women, specifically Tiffany, tried to play her out. Did not like that at all. Her husband's name is Amin. Amin, I think, has a heavy responsibility because Kiki can just pop off at any point, and I'm not necessarily okay with people doing that, specifically if your spouse is going to have to respond to something that you've said or done. So, next we have Martell and Melody. When I tell you, I feel like this lady is living the plight of Black women's relationships. She clearly was smarter. She had things together, far better organized, had way more push, and she's built up this world, and she's letting her husband take credit for everything. And I was just like, what is this? Like, this is weird. And it wasn't weird it was just so uncomfortable, to the point to where I know that some of us use the term BMW. If you know what it is, you know what it is. I do believe, though, a lot of Black households are male centered. So I won't call it Black male worship, but I can definitely see where we're gonna get into Melody, because Melody, again, if I had to say, if somebody said, what does marriage look like? And I would definitely recommend this, because again, you have so many different types of marriage. With Neil and Christopher, it was pretty clear. I respect the fact that they were very honest about dealing with infidelity and how they pushed through, how it worked. But then the other thing that we got to see with them as a family is how that impacted the kids. And I don't think it was positive. It seems to have taken a toll on them. So Melody and Martell. Melody and Martell. Again, this is a woman that I firmly believe she played the game. She said her husband was great. She, helped him build. She's definitely kept her figure. Very intelligent, very giving, very loving. She really, in my opinion, she really loved her husband. And it was so sad to see how she had been treated. I do believe that she also is like a lot of Black women, that you may marry somebody that's not necessarily for you. You have to kind of restructure. And she definitely had an amazing glow up. Like, her glow up, it is what it is. She's a beautiful woman. She's super smart. And come, I want to say season 4 or 5, you can see how delusional Martell is, because he begins to say, we did this for you as a brand. We did this and I sacrificed so you could have this. And it's just like, what? The implication that she was only successful because of him was irritating my spirit. Definitely did not like how her mother was treated. Like, this woman is every bit of 60, we'll say 65 to 70. There is no reason in the world for somebody to be talking about she has sex tapes. Like, no, we don't need to know that. I know I don't want to see it. So it was just, to me, a way of trying to diminish her, which Maurice does quite a bit. Maurice and Kimmy, they have the most dysfunctional functional marriage I've ever seen. They know each other very well. I think there's a level of delusion that Kimmy is willing to buy into. She truly is the ignorance is bliss. To me, the biggest gag was her husband has probably done the most. And when she kind of joked with him and was like, oh, I took a pregnancy test. The fact that he just can't get past that is weird. It's just like, did you want something to be mad at your wife about? Because it didn't make sense to me at all. I think that's all the couples. So we got Stormy and her husband, Tiffany and Big Lou, Nell and Chris, uh, Maurice and Kimmy, Martell and Melody. Yeah, that's all of them. And like I said, Destiny, but Destiny didn't make it past season 4, I believe. Do you think that this show can? Do you feel like the characters in this show were believable? Like, did you feel like this was something that you've seen before in real life?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And like for the circles I came from are also like Muslim and
Mm,
also they're East African. So even though like it's different cultures, different nationalities, it's all across the globe. So like
mm-hmm.
for me, it's not shocking, and it's just this reinforcement of what Black women across the world, like literally on the planet, have to
Mm-hmm.
expect out of marriage when it's so enforced on them in the first place.
Yeah.
Um, so much so that I keep forgetting that bald man's head. Keep forgetting his name. That he went on an interview and
Oh,
boldly bragged about raping his wife.
you're talking about
And
Maurice, and when he said that she's doing her marital duties by as
mhm,
long as she rolls over, and I was just like,
that is
sir,
by definition marital grape. And he, it's it reinforced this bias that I have that it is so accepted in the Black community across the globe, so much so that a man can boldly and loudly and confidently say that in front of the victim and in front of company and on videotape and know there's not going to be a single like consequence for it, and he
no,
would
that was,
still have a job.
I mean, well, one, he runs his own company, and that was the other thing that we kind of saw where um Kimmy has been a nurse for 22 years, and for him to want her to just let go of her profession, just come and work with me, it was it was odd. And I don't like that it took him to go through COVID and was like, oh, she's saving lives. It's like she's been saving lives, sir. But because Black people, specifically Black men, were being taken out with COVID so much that somehow made it valuable. So yeah, Maurice, he is, I don't want to say any names, but I will say that we all know someone that streams that we're gonna push forward. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna say, yeah, you, if you know, you know. But it's something very weird to me when men want to seem like they are the good guy. I don't particularly care for that type of demo. Because typically they're the most harmful because they know what to say, how to say it without coming off like a jackal, because it took for her to have cancer for us to like look at like, oh wow, this is wild, this is not okay. um
Can I shake the table?
yes.
Okay. So what you just described is this phenomenon on the passive aggressive nature that white women have in corporate America.
mm, mm-hmm.
It's the palatability of saying something while they're smiling in your face. That is so acceptable, and it has deniability if a third party comes in and listens to it.
Yeah, yes, very much like the apologies for some people were like, oh well, I'm sorry if I made you feel, versus just saying you're sorry. um
Yes. Or
the
even stating what you're sorry for. It's like, what are you
Yeah,
apologizing for? Acknowledge the action.
yeah, it was challenging, and I'm trying to think of like apology wise, again, the person to me, the couple that I felt most endeared to was Stormy and Mr. Beasley. Um, like I said, I think one just on a archetype, like I like big tall dudes, so that plus he's really quiet, but you kind of know not to play with him. I love how progressive Stormy is, and she has a strong Southern drawl, but baby girl is about her business. Um,
So
I
for
didn't like Maurice, but when they did the Black Expo, I really did not like him because if it's the day of an event and you're coming to me talking about you didn't pay booth, it's like this woman, you literally said she took up a whole bunch of sections. So clearly $100 is not gonna break her. But he's so used to being an ass that he really thought he was gonna be able to get that off. And I do really appreciate her husband coming in and being like, you seem to have a lot of problems with women. Like this is a thing. Miss Page, yeah,
my
go ahead.
my only pushback with that, and this is only coming from like a biased point of view of me not watching the show thoroughly,
Hmm.
is if these men are all hanging out outside of the show, I'm side eyeing everybody. Because there's no you're around Maurice and the other bobblehead who's graping his wife and saying you're a good man.
Well, what I will say is this. If you look at the thumbnail that I put up,
Hmm.
it says we're all single. So I'm just like, did they all get kind of left behind? Because I can see, I mean, I hate to say it, but I can see why Big Lou and Tiffany wouldn't work out. She's delusional in a different type of sense. Like she's the the biracial beauty that I think she thinks she's black, but no, that's not a black woman. Um, let's talk about them diminishing their light. How do you think that most black women are trained to disregard their value or play under their actuality, their like actual self?
Absolutely. From the minute they're told to go change clothes because a man is coming over, you're reinforcing that your presence in your own home is less valuable than the guest coming over.
That is an interesting way to put that. Yeah, I like that. Um, I did like that everybody went to like counseling and the Dr. Kinston, I really enjoyed him. He said something that you can hear things and people express it, but sometimes someone can say it in a way that it just sticks with you. And he talked about intimacy and lovemaking and how changing the narrative, like you're just doing this to, pass time versus I'm a full human, you're a full human. We're deciding to come together and create something together of intimacy on a different level. I just thought that was beautiful the way he said it. I was really glad that they had a black male therapist on there and he held people accountable. I was happy to see that. Um, the moms on the show. So we had, I'm reading this, y'all, telling the girl she's fast. Yeah. We've been talking a lot about how young black women are really adults by what 9, 10, because everybody's looking at her like if she has a cycle she can get pregnant. This is when we start calling people fast, as Miss London said. Like it is not unusual that if an inappropriate action is taken by a man that the person that he did it to will be villainized, not the man. And that it's sad and it's gross, and I really wish like we could be more progressive and like move forward. Um, but we're also dealing with people that want to lower the age of consent to like 12, which again, that to me is a peculiar ask. That's strange. It's hella strange to me. So tell me what you thought about Kimmy and Maurice, because that's the person that it sounded like you had the most um response to.
Um, for me, it's merely like surrounding that interview he did regarding her chemo and their intimacy. Um, and the way, like, it's just the whole space of him feeling comfortable enough to one admit and showcase that to the world, which tells me this is something that in their circle is expected and accepted. So much so that admitting it, which by the way, it's a national law, it's illegal to do that. So unless she reports it, nothing will be done. But for him to boldly say that and claim it as if it's like a grand thing, a, like a good job, thumbs up to her, is I'm trying to be, nice. Actually,
No, it's
forget being
very
nice.
much one of those like, yay, you made your wife have sex with you while she was doing radiation. It's like,
It's like a stamp of honor of like, oh, this is a wife. Like
mm-hmm,
that is what a wife is, and that is like the message that is being reinforced by everyone around. It's
mm-hmm,
her not addressing it or being like, hey, I didn't want to do this, but it's also it goes falls back into the church of like
mm,
that being like the expectation of women, and
mm-hmm,
then the interviewer even just like tiptoeing around the pushback. Like,
right.
no, call a spade a spade. This man just admitted to raping his wife on national TV. Why aren't we calling it what it is?
It was weird. That it made me uncomfortable. And then to see her try to be like, I'm not trying to deny you. My body just is not feeling it. Like you could see like when she had to cut her hair, it was
Mm,
so sad. Like it was just like she had this big mane of beautiful jet black hair, and she's like, I don't want to be taking a shower and my hair falls out. So one, cut your hair. And we're not going to talk about the Black community in hair because it is a whole nother type of thing. Like
mhm.
when people talk about Simone Biles, I often go back to be like, y'all talked about that girl's edges on her wedding day, and she was in Houston, Texas. It's hot as hell there. It's very sticky. Um, Gabby Douglas, we talked about her hair and her edges and all that. Like, it's just I did not like the way he treated his wife. It was very, very, very dismissive. And he'd been married before. So I'm thinking to myself, like, I mean, you had a practice run. Like, why are you not good at this point? It was weird.
It's it's because these type of men don't view women as human beings. They're accessories and tools, and it's unfortunate that women do fall into that belief where even when you're going through a battle of a disease like that could possibly take you out at any time, you've been
Mhm,
conditioned so much so to put your whole entire health and life aside to still be able to say, I'm a good wife.
mhm. So that part, you think it was performative for her, or was she really trying to meet the need that her husband was saying he had?
To
Let's
meet the need someone has against your benefit or like against your own health is a performance.
mhm,
You have to perform to meet a
mhm,
need. when we're talking about survival instinct, right?
Mhm.
If you are battling cancer, you are in survival mode for your life. But she was conditioned so much so to ignore that level of survival instinct to meet a need of another. That is performative on top of performative on top of performative.
Yeah, when you say it like that, it is some layers there. And then the other thing is like, you know that she's a medical professional. Like the fact that he looked at this lady and was like, it's all in your mind. It's just mental. And it's just
Hmm.
like,
Because think
sir,
about it. If he sat there and be like, "Yeah, baby, you don't have to do this. I know you're going through it. We can go a year or what, however long it takes for you to recover." She's not gonna be jumping up and down, but like, "No, let me do it." She's
right.
not. So to
Yeah,
me,
no.
it tells me that she's going to be like, "You know what? I will die tomorrow, but at least I died a good wife and give what my husband needs."
It was given very much that. I think she had a lot of concessions that it was just frustrating. Like even when she got her Jeep, it was cute, but it shows you he literally said she's been asking for this for years. She only had to get cancer for him to like put aside what he wanted her to have. 'Cause he's like, I offered a Lamborghini, I offered a Mercedes. She just keeps talking about a Jeep, and I'm trying to talk to her about, upscale luxury cars. And I'm just like, it's a car, sir. It's a car. Like the whole gold Mercedes Benz, white Mercedes Benz. Like I don't particularly care for the new wave of, we'll say, high middle class black folks can be. Hey, MJ. Um, I don't like that. I don't like it at all. I don't like when people are talking about, oh, my handbag cost this. I could have did this. Like, let's just not. Can we say we did but didn't? I don't. I did not like that at all. I hated that for her, and she was so excited to get the truck. So it's just like, why couldn't you just give her what she wanted?
It's like asking why can't a screwdriver give you what you wanted?
Hmm. What do you mean?
She's a tool and an accessory to be used.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. And again, this series is called The Prize, motivated by a live stream that Themis held with some men. Also, Mr. Biles and he's a pretty dime. And now we have um, this woman that has took on a bonus baby, has done a lot of work, but she really did downplay herself to the point to where she was so proficient at her job, the doctor was like, no, I don't accept this. You can't resign. So you just know she is on top of it. um I just thought it was so sad that he was just, it seemed very like dense. And I'm just like, I don't want to be lewd, but like go get some lotion or some fancy gel and take care of yourself. Like this is weird. It felt very controlling and very manipulative. And that's the one thing that I can say for me. Um, all of the M's, Martell, Maurice, Marceau, Mark, all, all, all narcissists and highly effective narcissists at that part. The couple that I think most people will have the biggest response to are Melody and Martell. Tell me your thoughts on, I guess, how we got introduced to Melody and Martell and where they are right now.
Is this the couple where he showed up to like a birthday party and got kicked out?
Hmm.
So I don't know their intro story because again, I haven't
Mm,
watched this show in full.
mm,
I only know about them when he started dating Sheree,
mm.
from Real Housewives, I believe, and that's a whole basket case and
Yeah,
on her own.
I don't think it was a serious dating thing. I think they both came together to try to get some type of storyline so they can at least get the reality checks, because what
Yeah.
we found out over time is like it had been portrayed like Martell was just this um real estate whiz, and it's like no, it was his wife. It
Of
was his wife
course.
to like the bitter. Like this man went and got a house that his friend was allowing him to stay in, and he's like, I need to sell this property. I need to move. I need you to move. And his response was like, I'm not leaving here until I have somewhere to stay. And it's like, what? It
So
was
it's entitlement.
the fact that so you don't watch it. He also snuck a woman in the room. Yes, please remember to leave a like and say hello. Martell, he is very much the good guy until you like get some layers. Like he's like an onion, and once you start pulling it back, it's like
Mm.
attractive. He's a very, very, very handsome man, but he also knows that he one is attractive. Two, he understands that a lot of Black women are just going to deal with you just on GP because you look good. Yes, he is a man child. And I'm not one that really loves the whole boy mom thing. But if we're going to keep it a buck, he definitely is a boy mom, to the point to where she's just like, I thought that girl was going to kill my son. You was just working so hard. And I'm like, girl, what?
Mm.
No. So his mom was weird. Tisha, her mother, Miss Wanda, is overwhelming, to the point to where I wonder what type of person Tisha would show up as if she was not either coddling her husband or her mother. She spends a lot of energy dealing with other people's crap. And she's also she's kind of passive aggressive. Like we're gonna call it, what it is. Um,
So
that was
Martell is the conclusion of what a boy mom does.
yes,
Got it.
yeah,
Yeah, that
mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely a boy mom. It was bothersome to see, and even as they started to get a little bit better with co-parenting or parallel parenting, however you see it. Um, it was her who invited him, his mom, her mom. She was trying, I think, desperately to try to keep some sense of normalcy for her children. And he just did not have the same type of interest, or did not respond the same. Like he essentially is that person that's going to weaponize his children. Like, oh, I needed them to come to go to a book signing. It wasn't your weekend. You knew it wasn't your weekend. Why are you doing this? Hey, Kenny. Um, I Martell is very hard to like. Between him and Marsal, they are probably like the biggest deviants ever. Um, Let me ask you, did you see a marriage on here, or do any of the couples demonstrate behaviors that you think are best practices in relationships?
From what I've seen, no. I
I
feel like
mean,
everybody should go just their separate ways.
mm, I'm just gonna say, and it's gonna sound I don't want to sound callous, but I do believe that Tissa and Marsal. I think that they have the relationship that they want. Um, Stormy and her husband, love them. Yeah, Stormy and her husband are really cool. Um, who else? Miss Nell and Christopher were okay, but they alluded to infidelity, but they never said, what happened. I did not like that they kind of congratulated her for taking him back, and she was like, Martell was like, "Oh, well, how long did it take after, y'all had y'all's issue?" And she's like, "About 18 to 24 months." And he goes, "Did you sleep with anybody then?" And she's like, "No." And he was like, "Well, she did." So he's like hell bent on trying to make Melody look like a bad person. And it just makes him look weaker and weaker. It's just like,
I'm
come.
sorry. So he cheated and they broke up. So she was acting single as she is, and he got upset.
He said that she shouldn't have moved on that fast and that
When should she have moved on? During their marriage, like he did?
well, the only reason that he was cheating was because she wasn't satisfying the needs. It was,
Man, I,
I mean, that's what he said. He was like, I had to cheat because she wasn't performing and she didn't do certain things. And essentially, he was talking, complaining about fellatio, and was like, this woman literally is building businesses with you. Like at some point, like, don't come on, bro. Welcome, Miss Page. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Can you hear me?
I
yes, we
can. We
can.
can.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Evening. Good, good. So tell me, because I know you watched and then you had to tap out because of some of the behaviors that you saw demonstrated.
Okay, so for me, Martell, trash. Marcel, all of the M&Ms, trash. The M Posse is trash. And I think the brothers, Marceau and Maurice, they are definitely misogynistic. They're assholes. And I just, it angers me because Tisha and Kimmy, who's my favorite by the way, um, both are diminishing their light just to uplift those men. And it's draining to watch. Um, I think both men are abusive. Um, and I also think that Tisha is more, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to pretend like I know nothing and I'm going to put up the front because look at what I have. She's the keeping up the appearance of happiness and I'm sad for her for that. You know, what else do I want to say? I think Stormy and her husband, I like the way he protects her.
Mm-hmm.
I think that um when you look at this group of men, you don't see the husbands covering their wives. You see the women constantly covering the husband. And I think in a relationship, it should go both ways. It'll be
Mm-hmm.
times that the wife needs to cover the husband, it's times that the husband needs to cover the wife.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't see that. So, out of all of the marriages that I've witnessed on this television show, until I think the season where Tiffany was getting ready to get pregnant, I didn't see her on the show pregnant because I
You
didn't watch that season.
You did not
So,
miss anything. She's
so
Tiffany, different
I
kind of delivery.
I think that she wants to keep up appearance.
Mm-hmm.
However, the stipulation I think in their marriage is you can cheat, just do not bring anything home. I.e., don't bring home no babies, don't bring home no woman that's gonna blast my business in the street. So I think Tisha is okay with Marceau doing what he wants, and that's why his flat faced self always
Not a
smirks.
flat face.
Look at his face the next time you watch that show and look at his upper lip. It's flat, like somebody knocked it in. I just don't like that man. Bothers my spirit because he is just horrible. Like he is everything that your mama told you to stay away from. He is never going to look at you as a human being. He's never going to look at you as you're the equal. He's always going to look at you as scum on the bottom of his shoe. And I feel that's the way he treats his wife. Miss Wanda, in my opinion, she has so much mouth for everybody else. And she don't get that man in check. Because he has his wife on the show looking a damn fool. Well, she has herself on the show looking a fool. Because I can't put everything into Marceau's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tisha is also responsible for herself. This woman has a master's degree.
2.
And she seems like she has the cognitive development of a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
It is really sad. Um, I don't like Tiffany. Tiffany is very messy. Tiffany is the character that they put on these shows because I know you will go as low as I need you to go to stir up drama, chaos, and confusion. This is why you're here. This is what your paycheck is for. I need you to take and put this grenade in the room, run out, play the innocent person, and that's it with our big forehead. I don't like her. Um, then I think what saddens me the most is that Kimmy is from Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
So of course I was rooting for her first.
Mm-hmm.
She's a nurse. Of course I'm a root for her for that.
Mm-hmm.
But to see the role she played in her husband getting his degree and to see this man not respect her, not care about her health or well being while she was on this show is very heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Cancer is a very, it's a hard disease process to watch and
Mm-hmm.
to know that this man watched his wife on her worst day and he could not have empathy. It saddens me because she doesn't have a partner.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, she might as well be a damn prostitute and sell her ass. At least she'll get something out of it because she's not getting anything from being married to her husband. Um,
Do we think that she was expecting that, or did she just want the ring?
I, what I feel when you get married, I expect for my husband to wait on me. If I'm not feeling well, I expect that because if something was wrong with him, I know he would expect her to be a nurse to him.
Mm-hmm.
I know he would expect that. So in return, I expect him to give her the same thing that he would want.
Right.
Because cancer is it's a heart-wrenching thing to watch someone that you truly love. This is a person who got an aggressive type of cancer. And
Mm-hmm.
fortunately, she was in the medical field to
Mm-hmm.
know some of the signs and symptoms that she needed to look for in order to request the proper testing and to speak to the doctors in a way where you're not going to pull the wool over my eyes. I want this, 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 and this. She was able to advocate for herself with the knowledge that she has as being a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody has that. So I can't fathom her not having that knowledge and then going through this kind of treatment and then still be mistreated.
Yeah.
I'm fighting for my life here and I have nobody in the battle with me. It looks good. Oh baby, let me shave your head, so your hair won't fall out. Yeah, that looks good for television.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get on a platform and you say with pride, oh yeah, she ain't have the energy to do it, but she wanna please me, so she just turned over. I know she wasn't enjoying it, and she gave me some even though she didn't want to. Why should she have to? Take your ass in the corner and go talk to Palmelina and leave her the fuck alone. Hug her, massage her feet, do what you need to do, cater to your wife. And
Right.
this is the problem. And these are the kind of men that deserve to be in pissy pampers. And
Mm-hmm.
nobody checking on them. This is what happens because give it time because everybody has their breaking point.
Mm-hmm.
Those men are not cultivating relationships. And and a lot of people that don't know how to cultivate relationships as he gets older, he won't have those bonds.
Mm.
Hmm.
I mean, but I think he kind of acknowledged that already because even in with the son, with Monster coming to stay with them, I was taken aback how he did not include her in things to the point to where she just kind of dismissed herself away from it. And he's like, well, I thought you were going to help. And she's like, I can't help you if I don't know what's going on. Like he made a bunch of decisions without her say
Be
so. But
and you
and talking to the ex-wife, I was just like, this is weird. Like, why are y'all not having conference calls? Like this should be something to where, hey, she's got a new husband, you got a new wife, y'all all hop on Zoom or StreamYard and have conversations for what do we need to do for this baby? Because that was the other thing that I thought was odd was like, okay, once she got diagnosed, do you really feel like you should have kept your son?
okay, so here's what I'm going to say. As a spouse, right? If my husband and I were to get a divorce and he starts another relationship, gets married to the woman that I assume he was having an affair with, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't give a damn if she was Joan of Arc, Mother Teresa. I wouldn't give a damn who she is. We have nothing to discuss together. You and I can discuss things as parents of that minor child.
Mm-hmm.
However, me and Kimmy have nothing to discuss because that's just the way I see her, regardless of how she says we were just friends. Okay. And now you're his wife. But if I felt as though you were a problem in my marriage. And suppose his first, what's his first wife's name, whatever the young lady name is.
Kawida,
Suppose
Kaya. He always calls her Kaya.
Kiowa, that's her name.
Mm-hmm.
So suppose Kiowa didn't want a divorce. Suppose she wanted her marriage. And we don't know where the pressure came from.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know, okay, I got this nurse, she gonna help me get through law school. Let me go over here and, be with her, blah, blah, blah. Do the little play thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. Number two, you could never expect that of somebody. I know for one, I'm not saved enough. I'm not saved enough. I think you're not gonna rub dog shit in my face and tell me it's sugar. So, cause ain't nothing over here, sweet baby. And I'm not gonna make your life a living hell.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I'm gonna give you the little boy. You know what I'm saying? So you could deal with him and whatever he's going to go through or whatever. But um it's your responsibility to make that transition as far as Maurice.
Mm-hmm.
Maurice is the reason why there's tension there
Mm-hmm.
because Maurice had an obligation to Kiowa.
Mm-hmm.
Kimmy didn't. Kimmy wanted what she wanted, and now she got what she got. And I'm sorry to say that you saw what he was to her,
Mm-hmm.
and now he is what he was to her to you because that's just the way life goes. And those Scott brothers, they not worth the sperm cell that made them. I'm sorry, they not worth it.
That was going to be my next question. What is your take on Martell and Melody?
Okay, I think I appreciate the real them coming out in season 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Season 1 for them, I did not like Mel at all. I thought she was at all because you could see fake a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
Her whole persona was not real. You could tell that she was hiding who she truly was. And it was hidden behind the mask of her trying to hide the ain't shitness of her husband. Okay. Um, and you could see the lies pulsating out them tight ass clothes that Martell wear. I think aesthetically, the two of them were a beautiful couple.
They were. They were.
They were picturesque as far as I'm concerned, but everything on the inside was bullshit.
Yeah.
So
So let me ask you
when
this. What did you think about, and the both of you can answer this, seeing all the things that we saw and knowing that coleslaw was in the picture, what did you think when Melody was pregnant?
I think that um I think that perhaps that might have been a oops baby.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I don't mean no harm, cause Sugar Mama would have been in a vacuum. Um you said I could come on here and be real. And the real
Not a vacuum, but I understand what you're saying. That that just blew my mind. I was like,
yeah,
girl,
so like
sleeping with him with no condoms?
I
Like,
think that either she got pregnant or he got her pregnant, because it could be a two-sided thing. Like, did he get her pregnant because he didn't want her to leave? You get what I'm saying? Or did
Mhm.
he get her pregnant because he wanted a baby? It's a
I do think Martell likes children. He does give
I
a
think
very,
I think he likes to make copies of himself. That's what Martell likes to do. He
yeah.
likes to hunt and he likes to make copies of himself. So, I just was hoping that the pants he wore gave enough restriction on his sex that it could not reproduce anymore. Like, that's what he deserves.
But let me ask you a question about that. So, what did you think about what was it? Maurice and Marceau both went and got vasectomies. I did not
That's
understand
so
why
that that's
Martell didn't do
that's
that.
so that's so they could cheat in peace. I told you,
Mm-hmm.
Keisha and Marceau have an agreement. You can come out the barn smoking, bitch, but you better not bring nothing home, baby included. That is the deal that they have. And I
Mm-hmm.
will sit on this stage, regardless how dumb I look, because we got that agreement. Do you understand? Don't don't make me look dumb. That's what she be saying when them cameras are off, because sometimes they catch her when her face is like, this nigga playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they catch her from time to time. So I think honestly that she knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
She has come to some form of acceptance of what's going on. And at this point, she is like, hey, let me just play my role. Play my role.
He definitely is financially abusive. Um, like very, very financially abusive to her. Um, he's the person that say she wants a new purse and he's like, oh yeah babe, you can get it, and then a month now, well, you the one that just bought a purse that costs $3,000. Like, he gives that kind of weird kind of pop off energy that we've seen men
But
display.
see, and this is why I always say opposite of what Michelle Obama says. When they go low, you go to hell.
Yeah, we're going to Hades.
You don't stay on the same playing field, because I would hit him so low, he would never open his mouth to me sideways again. And the next time that he thought about opening his mouth sideways at me, it would be his last.
Oh,
You don't play with me.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you do not play with me. Number one, you are financially restricting me. You are forcing me not to take opportunities that would benefit me. And see,
Right.
this is the problem that I have, for Keisha, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a young lady who is as educated as she is. Where's the woman to come and say, sis, stop dimming your light?
Well, it wasn't the
I
moms
know you,
because
I know, I'm that's why I said, where is the woman? It doesn't see this is the independent thinking, right?
mm-hmm.
And the way I think as a woman, I am not just my daughter's mother. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
any sisters biologically, but I am a sister to others. I'm a auntie to others. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
mommy to others. I don't have to be blood related to you in order to care about what's good for you.
Mm-hmm.
What I have to do is see what's going on and sit and just talk. Hey, come over and have some coffee with me. And we could sit and we could talk. But see, what I don't like about Tisha, your husband is just as dirty as Martell. In season 1 or 2, she sat across from Melanie and she threw her husband's affairs. Oh, you got that twin Mercedes. Oh, that's really cute. When you wearing that? Saturday. Oh, cute. Oh, my munchkin. So, when she sat across from that young lady and she threw her husband's affairs in her face, when your husband is just as dirty, and she said, "Yeah, well, you and your and the mistress got matching BMWs." What?
Oh, when she talked about
She was
coleslaw.
right. So she, in my opinion, that is not a good person.
Yeah.
She's
She's
not a
passive
good
aggressive.
person.
She's
And
passive aggressive. She's
and
very
so and so for me, you don't want to say nothing like that to me because I'm gonna go so low. I'm talking about I'm gonna go so low that I'm gonna sit back and have to repent and pray to God that they don't come on my grandkids or my great grandchildren. That's how low I'm gonna go. So, and I'm not gonna mind doing it because what you shouldn't have did, you shouldn't have plucked up my shadow. And
mm-hmm.
I'm comfortable with that little hussy when she come out to play. So bring it if you want. But if you dare, you're not gonna be able to put her back up. That's all I'm gonna tell you. If she would have sat across from me and said that every dirty little secret that Martell laid on the bed and whispered in my ear while we was pillow talking would have been said at that table.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
And I'm talking about because you said it, you did it to hurt me, right? So if you take a knife and you stab me and I got a gun in my pocket and I shoot you, you inflicted me first.
Right.
You can't get mad at what I bring back towards you. Don't start it.
Now see, let's go there because I found it odd. Um Martell and Maurice and Marceau. They all seem to want this fidelity from their wives, but they don't think that they should have the same. Um, I guess it just felt very strange.
It
Like,
does. It's not strange, Tiff. This is what you are taught
That
growing up.
part. It goes back
It's
to the whole tool
conditioning.
usage
It's
thing.
it's conditioning. You are taught. Look at how they do the daughters. The
mhm,
daughters have curfews. The daughters have restrictions. The
mhm.
boys, let them go. Boys will be boys. Sow your royal oats. Do all of this. But
Ooh, I like what SJ just said. Men have needs, women have very ignorable wants. That's a word. That is
I
a
mean,
word.
I believe that's true, but it's also a conditioning, Tiff. It's a conditioning that men are supposed to be like that. Because at the
Yeah.
bare at the bare minimum, he's supposed to pay the bills.
Hmm.
That's what's expected, right? You
No, y'all
know,
just got the light bill now. Everything else is 50.
no, that's what Tyler Perry said. That ain't a page in my book at all. That ain't no page in my book. So that's Tyler Perry book. Whoever agreed to be with him can agree to that light bill bullshit. Cause light bill my ass.
Light
Mm-mm.
bill bill. So do we really believe? Because at some point, the two most delusional couples were Melody and Martell, and then Maurice and not Maurice, Tisha and Marceau. Do
I'm
we
not going
think
to
that?
say delusional. I'm going to say putting up appearances. It's a difference to be in a relationship because, like I said, you could read off the very first episode that what Martell and Melanie had was not real.
Mhm,
Did they love each other at some point? Absolutely.
mhm.
Were they in a place in their relationship where they should have been doing a reality television show? No. Um, I feel like it is
Don't you?
normalized.
But don't you think that in essence, that's one of the reasons why she was able to move forward, because she actually saw herself and how crazy it looked. And then,
I
having her mom and everybody, it's, I mean, it's one thing when things are alleged. It's another thing when, yeah, you went and bought a whole twin car. You have a whole baby. Like, he was moving way wild and way reckless, to the point to where I think she had taken just so much that he didn't ever think she would leave. And I think her being on the show and people being like, oh no, like she's clearly the brains behind the joint. But that's something that I think we all kind of have leaned into, of seeing how some Black men, they are the sum of the success of their wife. Like the wife is the person that makes it happen, not the husband. Even with Maurice, him trying to act like he's so traditional when we all know, doggone tootin' well, she was probably paying for everything while he was going through law school. He didn't start doing that until after they met. So he essentially has his wife to thank for having his child in the home with him, and also his education. And
and
he's the person that she got sick, and he's like, I still have needs.
but you know what? And what I also fault is the impression that we give as women too. Like it's some ownership and responsibility that as a woman we can all take. Thank you, baby. Um
When you say
it's
responsibility that we should take, like,
it's a responsibility because I don't know what conversations they had. Hmm, please. Um I don't know what conversations they had during their personal time. I
mhm,
don't know whether or not they both, because they both discussed how high Kimmy's sex drive is, right? So I don't know if they had conversations based on intimacy, you know what I'm saying, and what the requirements were for them. Like I try not to judge every relationship on everything.
mhm,
I can just insert myself for the things that I don't like,
mhm.
but I also can't say, well, yeah, he's an asshole. Don't get me wrong, because I'm still nowhere near accepting what he did to his wife while she's sick with cancer. However, I don't know how Kimmy sold herself. I don't know how he sold the relationship. Did he sell the relationship? Him complaining about Kiowa during their pillow talk? Oh, she never wanted to have sex. Did she not want to have sex with you because you were an infidelious community ping king? Or did she not want to have sex with you because you weren't the size that she needed? Did she not want to have sex with you because you last 2 seconds and you were selfish and you didn't make her head climax, what was the reason? You understand what I'm saying? So did Kimmy ask the right questions? Did they discuss about being sick? I think nobody, and especially with them because they are newlyweds,
Hmm.
basically. So nobody expects within the first couple years of your marriage your spouse
But they had
getting
dated for
ill.
7 years though. Like it wasn't like this was like it wasn't new young love. Like she literally
But
said
still,
she saw him as a barber and as a boy mom. I will tell you, um, it's almost as if what do you call them, barbers
mhm.
not married, like they can be a plague because oh, bring them up here, we'll spend the time. I'm gonna keep them chopped up. Like I've never had more people flirt than going into a barber shop.
Well, I'm
So
gonna tell you,
to
my
me,
my
like,
my son Barbara is a lesbian, so
mhm.
I mean,
Oh, oh,
yeah,
chocolate? Well,
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah. I love her. She keep my son hair fresh. He likes her. So I
She might
don't,
want you to be her woman.
huh?
I said she might want you to be her woman.
No, she's that little baby. That's my. She went to school with my daughters.
I'm
No,
tired of y'all. I'm tired of all y'all mature women not giving the youths what they should. Hey, two L's. Um,
no, no. She's a little baby and she's real sweet. But I'm just going to say I I can't define what their contract was. I can't say,
mm,
oh, this is what they agreed to.
mm.
So yeah, she agreed to have sex with him because what it may seem like, because she doesn't want the same outcome that Kaya would had, because she knew what she was doing with Maurice when the two of them were together. You get
Yeah,
what
but
I'm saying?
they kind of implied that she cheated.
That who cheated?
Kiowa.
Guess what? Let me tell you something. If she did, that nigga opened the barn. So if his barn door would have been closed, it, the chicken would have never came out. Period. If you want that, not everybody is Letitia. Not everybody going to say, okay, just keep up the appearances. That's what we're going to do. Absolutely not, sir. What we going to do? If you open this barn door, I'm going to come pouncing my happy fat tail right on out of it. And you could play that game. So Kiowa got
Mm-hmm.
the kickstart from him. He handed her the jumper cables and she just did what she had to do.
Mm.
She did what she had to do, regardless, because I don't, them two brothers, those two brothers,
I wanted to see what their dad was like because they
absent.
okay because it was giving like this whole push for legacy. It's like okay, but they just were not very good men. Initially I thought Maurice was cool, but I probably disliked him the most because he is everything that a person would want on paper, but it's taken him off the backs of two black women to actually get the education and to have the things.
I
Because
think more so.
three, because wait a minute, we got to talk about the sister is really running the credit business, right?
Girl,
She was running everything. Then I guess he's like a silent investor, and then you can tell I don't know what happened with Marcel. It's like as he got money, he just got nastier and nastier and ruder, which I know a lot of people feel like money only shows who you really are. Um, it was very disappointing to see him. Sorry, y'all. Armani is having a moment. See, had to give that black man a look. Um, I just, I'm very disappointed in Maurice. I don't know why I expected more from him, but
I expect nothing more than what I saw. Cause I'm telling you, look at his face and look at the way his mouth set. The more lies he tell, the further his mouth get pushed in by the Lord. And the Lord is trying to prevent him from talking. But
I can't. I cannot. But I get it.
I
I will say this because we've been. This is a series that we're going to continue to do. Um, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this show was, to me, it very much showed that the husband is the prize. The man is the come up. It's like, oh, I have a man, so look at me. Very odd. Um, and even the quality of the dudes that they had, like they're not one woman men. Like everyone was giving kind of the vibes of I'm a good black man, Savannah, and just because I got a girlfriend, it doesn't make me not a good father and husband. And it's like, sir, on the surface, yes, you're not fulfilling your role. You're not a good dad, and you're not a good person. But the elevation that I saw, um, specifically with Martell and his mom, that really gnawed my nerves because I'm just like, one, she reminds me of oh, what is her name? Poom Cat, Jim Jones' mom. She reminds me
oh
of this
God,
lady,
you talking about what the hell did she say
Miss
on them
Poom
damn
Cat.
shirt?
Miss Poom Cat. The her But you know what? The one thing that we can't say is she was okay with dating a younger man. So I just feel like you should get them while they're least corrupted. The same thing they be saying about women, same with dudes. Like you don't want no dude who
But
got
the
all
unfortunate part about boys, they get corrupted from like 2 or 3 years old. They
which
the process starts then. Like it starts then when they little. You have to look and see the environment that these little guys are growing up in.
It starts in preschool.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
what do you
Little.
mean? Just like break it down or give me
So
some more.
in preschool, it's literally even before that, it's the clothing of, oh, he's gonna be a heartbreaker. In preschool, it's then reinforcing that little boys have a right to touch anybody at any time, anyhow. So boys will be
Mm,
boys.
yeah.
And then in middle school, it's the roughhousing and not teaching about consent and bodily autonomy.
Hmm.
And then in high school, that's when the legal stuff starts happening. Um, so by the time they're in their 20s, if the parental figures in their lives haven't like circumvented the culture norms, it's a little too late. So even the concept of getting them younger, doesn't make sense. 'Cause
Yeah, no. I mean I just be trying to figure out how we can make it work for everybody, but I don't
I
know.
guess.
girl, take off that cape.
It's not a cape. I
It's a
just feel
cape.
like if
Take it off.
people want to be loved, like when I watch it, like when I was watching Nell and Christopher, it's like it's clear they've had their things. I think says something about a couple that can endure and continue to be there for each other and build. I don't think it's anything wrong with that. And I'm like, you are married to a man. It's not, they're not God. It's not a superhero. Just like you're a woman. You like, I don't know anybody that's like, oh, I'm married and I never see attractive people anymore. It's like, no, there are plenty of people that are attractive. Like, I can say Martell is a very good looking guy. Do I want to be dealing with him in that type of way? No, absolutely not. But I can still acknowledge that he's attractive. I don't know if we give people enough room to still be a fully functioning adult and also in a commitment. I think women are forced to do it at a higher level, but I also can say, like, uh, these dudes, like, none of them look cute except for like maybe Courtney and Martell. But Martell, he knows he's attractive, so it makes him unattractive for me. Like, I don't. It's one thing to know you, like, you hadn't been hit with the ugly stick. It's another thing when you are putting on a suit with a fox and walking down the thing like you on Coming to America. Like, Martell, just everything was very visual. Everything was very much for show. And that was sad because it just felt like he couldn't be real with himself, real with his wife, real with his reality. And he's delusional now. Like, he went from, I don't want to be with her, I don't want to be with her, to, oh, well, we need to get together and do it for my kids. And then that last straw of him wearing his wedding band when they went to Houston, I was so over it. I was so over it. And it's like, you are the person that caused the disillusion of your marriage. You did this. You don't get to now act like, oh my gosh, she won't give me another chance. Like, bro, you've had chances to the point to where there's a whole kid out here, a whole kid. And your mistress calls and is disrespectful. Like, the day that she would have called and asked, put Martell on the line. Oh, honey, I'd have been in my car. I'd have been in my car. He'd have been there with, but he's Martell is a different kind of disrespectful. What you eating? Crunchy much?
Sorry.
Oh, I look, and I thought it was Miss Page. I mean, hey, I know wrong with a little popcorn, a nice little snack. So let's see. Let's say, based on this show, and then based on Mr. Biles, um, based on the Good Guy podcast that we heard, do we believe that Black women are being conditioned to choose themselves first? And are we doing anything to level set being in a marriage? In the sense of, like, the wedding day is great, but it's a day. That's a day. After that, the work starts. And I know all three of us are in successful, thriving relationships. So, based on these characters that we saw, do you believe that this was a deficiency just of the men on the show? Or do you think that there is a deficiency with men, much in the way like Princella says, men can't love?
I'm going to say this is a great example of what's in the community. And unfortunately, the pot for Black women to choose from is overflowing with other applicants applying for the same position. That pot of, let's say, Black men that want to date Black women that are heterosexual, that are, I'm going to say, decent, that have the finances, once you start pulling leaves off that branch, it's going to look like winter outside from what you pick. And that's exactly what Love and Marriage Huntsville is. You have a tree branch with some leaves on it. The wind blew and all the leaves blew off, and now you just left with the twig. That's Love and Marriage Huntsville. That's it. That's all. What you say?
Now, not that the thing came down and was like, my mic. I was saying, do we think that their relationships are more typical, or are these relationships one-offs?
I think, like I said, I've seen more people pretending to be happy than people actually being happy. All for the sake of saying, oh, I'm married. So that they could throw it up in somebody else's face or whatever, right? So that's Tisha.
Mhm.
And I also seen people that say, I'm taking me back because now you done hit the spot where your level of disrespect. Hey, we done had this discussion. I'm done. That's Melanie.
I like what London just said. She said, women have given men the throne and the keys to the castle. Men are not in fear of women leaving them or being without supply. Collectively, there are more mules and thirsty women to fill in. And
And
I hate to say it, but I do believe that the statement that we are so um the scale of, what is it, 3 to 1, like, and that's in a good city. Like, don't go to Atlanta and what is it, like 20 to 1.
Hmm.
I do believe, as we're going through this series, that I do think that Black women have made Black men the prize. I
and
don't.
it start with a raggedy mama. That's where it start. And then the other women that are surrounded by him, because
Wait,
we
why we gotta throw mama in this? What do you mean it starts with a raggedy mama? What do you
it
mean?
start with their mama. It starts with their mother. I have a son, and my focus is to teach him the skills that he needs to have for
Mhm,
when he becomes a husband.
mhm,
That's my responsibility as a mom. It
mhm,
is not my responsibility to teach him how to fill in the patch, be the spackle for the things that my husband is not doing. You understand what I'm saying? So
mhm,
I don't want my son to be spackle for me.
mhm,
I can be spackle for my damn self. You know what I'm saying? It's not my child's responsibility to, if I need somebody to take me to, let's say, a restaurant once a month. That's
mhm,
nice. That's a nicety if my son say, hey, come on, mom, let me take you out.
mhm,
I want to make sure you're doing that for your wife first. Are you taking your wife out once a month? Let me make sure you're doing that for her first. Because I have a husband.
mhm.
It's my husband's responsibility to take me out once a month, if that's
But
what it is.
but
It's not
listen
my
to what you
son's.
said. Listen to what you said. You said, I have a husband. How many boy moms
It
not
don't matter. It doesn't matter. If she didn't have a husband, she shouldn't expect that of her son. The question should be, what are you doing for that young lady? Because I'm pretty sure the woman that my son chooses
Mhm,
is going to be equally yoked for him. It's so many opportunities. Like if my son is out here and he don't get himself a black girl, I'm gonna be pissed because that would piss me off. That would just send me over the top and over the edge because I know I'm raising two beautiful black girls. and they're prime pick for any black man. But the
Mhm.
problem is the black men don't want my daughters, and they not ugly girls. Okay, and that's the real. So I would be pissed off with my son. I'm pouring all of this into him, and I want him to give that to a black young lady. Period. Point blank. Period. Point blank. My daughters, no, I'm not going to tell you to date just black. Why? Because the pickings is what the fuck is on Love and Marriage Huntsville. Period. Point blank. That's what you're going to get. And I don't want my daughter to have that. However, my son can go out here. He can go to college and see a young lady. He can go to high school and see a young lady. And she's nice. She comes from a great family. They come up the same way. Two-parent household, middle class family.
Mhm.
That's common for a black boy to find. It's not common for a black girl to find. So no, they don't have the same options. They don't.
So
And I don't want to hear the love has no color. I don't want to hear that. Love don't have no color when it comes to my daughters. But for
right.
my son, love has a color for me. And I would have to swallow that pride when it's time for my son to date. But as he's coming up, I want him to understand because he adores his sisters.
Mhm.
And his main thing as a 9-year-old, now that his sister is dating, he tells her all the time, I want to meet the guy that's taking you out because I just want to make sure he treats you right. That's what my 9-year-old says. Why wouldn't I want a little black young lady to get my son?
So I pulled up one of the comments that you said that what angers you is seeing women constantly diminishing their lights. Can you give me a couple of examples of how you felt like the women on the show diminished themselves? I mean, I know with Kim and having, or no, that's
Okay.
Tisha that
No,
has
no.
the ski mask.
Kimmy is a whole nurse.
Mm-hmm.
How did she allow her husband as a whole RN? That's a lot of hard work. Nursing is a hazing field. She survived 20 some years in that field.
Mm-hmm.
Nursing, they eat their young. Most nurses don't survive the first 5 years, right? She survived 20. Okay. So for that alone, that nursing degree was good enough to help him go through law school, right? That nursing degree was. But for you to tell her to give up what she loves because a nurse that stays in this field for 20 plus years, right? It's not because of the money. It's because of the heart. And regardless of what she tries to do, it's nothing that's going to fulfill her heart like nursing.
Right.
So she's diminishing her light because she wants to appease her husband and go into finance, go into the real estate thing. Not saying that she can't have multiple streams of income, but why do you have to dim your light to make his shine? My mother told me when I was younger, right? And this is why I'm never jealous of another woman, never jealous of anybody on the face of this earth, right? My
Mm-hmm.
mom taught me that I am a diamond. And when you take a diamond and you put it in the light, no matter where the light is in the room, that diamond is going to shine all by herself because that's what she is. That's what she is. So when I come into the room, I don't give a damn if it's nothing but celebrities in the room. They not me.
Right.
Because God gave me the essence to be me.
Yeah.
And being me is beautiful. And it's horrible that I'm watching, and this is why I can't support the show. I'm watching a show where I see the heart of these women. Them women are broken. The only woman that's on that show that's free is Mel. And she just got free. And she's
Do we,
being
do we
tormented.
do we think that she is free? And
I do.
we're right at the almost 2 hour mark. Nak had to hop off because she got a boo thing she's got to feed and all that good stuff. And I mean, I know it's your daughter's birthday, so we'll go another couple of minutes. But the one thing that what I can say in this series and in this sequence, um, I'm very grateful. I know a lot of people may not necessarily like the show, but I think that it gives a really good point of view of how some people perform or show up in their marriage. You definitely have had the whole conversation of the good guys, and technically, all of these men would be considered to be good men. They're what divine nine because two of them are omegas, plus the sun is an omega. I believe that Martell is a Q, or no, they're Q dogs. He's a Kappa. So you have that. I do love the fact that Kimmy was able to get her son all the way through school. He's graduated, college debt free. So that in itself is a testament of who she is as a woman. She clearly has now put her husband through school as well. Because again, if he was a barber and then did the credit stuff and then did da da da, like I think a lot of it is her. I think a lot of his success is directly connected to Kimmy. And I do believe that he's very disrespectful in the sense of he's still operating as if him and Kiowa are the only two people that need to have feedback in the child's life. And the one thing is like I already know that Huntsville has got to be small because when they said, "Oh, my sister dated him before," so it's like, "Oh, okay. Well, we know who your husband is, so yeah, we're not going to give any kickback." Is a bit odd. Did you notice that?
And they have a little town. I mean, it's really 6 degrees of separation for real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I realized how small the world is. I've never at this point gone to New Orleans, right? And at that time I was living in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happened that one of the ladies that I knew from Italy flew home to visit her family in Louisiana, and she went to a Mac store, and somebody that I knew from where I'm from knew me, and they took a picture and sent it to me, and that just shows how small the globe is.
Mm-hmm.
So a town like Huntsville, everybody knows everybody.
Right.
So when you have men who are roosters on the prowl, guess what? Tisha knows, Kimmy knows, the next door neighbor knows. When she goes to the beauty parlor, they know. When they go to restaurants, some their waitress is whispering, and the husband is giving strange looks because he done did whatever he did with her. So that town is that kind of little. And
So, with that being said, do we believe what Martell is saying, talking about Melody cheated first? Because it would seem like if she had done that, like somebody would have popped out by now.
let me tell you something. I believe what Mel said. Mel said that he went down, and that's it. I believe that that could possibly happen. But if they were not together, it does not matter. If the two of them were living in separate locations, it doesn't matter. Period,
So,
point blank.
wait a minute now, because let's clarify this, because this may be the next show. Are you saying that it is okay for a couple to not be quote unquote traditional and
Not what I'm
still?
saying. The two of them during that time when she had that incident with the guy, they
Mhm.
were separated. The two of
Mhm.
them had been separated. Martell was not living with Melanie, and
Well,
they
she
were
had an apartment.
separated.
She had an apartment. So my
Ri-
question is, um, in what you're saying, are you saying that if you are not living in the same home, though you're still married, you can be unfaithful?
That's not what I'm saying at all. I said they were separated. It's a different separation, living in my own apartment,
Hmm.
meaning that I don't want to be with him. Okay, the divorce was the after effects of the start of the separation. You get what I'm
Do
saying?
we,
They were not,
do we
they were
really
not.
do we really think that? Because again, a lot of us have all, I think, had the same thought of if what's her name, Arian, whatever, Coleslaw, if
Mhm.
Coleslaw wouldn't have gotten pregnant, do we really think that they would be divorced right now, or do you feel like they would
I
still be together? Because I feel like they would still be together.
I think they would have been together for a while, but Martell's celebrity, and because he's not a bad looking guy, that went to his head. I don't think she would be able to survive his ego right now. She wouldn't be able to survive his ego. I'm not saying that the two of them should. What Here's what I'm saying. If I get separated from my husband, I'm
Hmm.
living in my own house, and my thoughts and my plan is not to be with my husband,
Hmm.
and he's doing what he wants to do. Why should I restrict myself from having enjoyment in life, and I'm not planning on being with him? If my idea is let's be separated, blah blah blah, I'm over here, I live in my own place. That is completely different from what Martell did. What
No, I
Martell,
can see that.
what
I can see that because Martell was, I mean, he was already doing the most, but then he tried.
Martell was cheating on this woman in the midst of a pandemic where no one knew whether or not they would survive this mess. So that alone, you could have come home with COVID. Well, I'm sorry for using that word on your platform.
Oh,
You could have come home with that, given it to one of your small children. Imagine if one of them died.
yeah. And I mean, wasn't she was pregnant or had just had a baby?
No, she was pregnant,
Yeah. That was
and
Martell is just
Martell is a pig. Martell cares about one person, and that's himself. He puts on the good, oh, I love to be around the kids, I'm a good dad role. He puts that on, but then how are you a good dad when you sit around and you talk about the mother of your kids like that? Children do not want to be around somebody that bashes their parent that they feel does everything for them.
mhm.
No child wants to be around that. No child does. If all I have to do during my weekend visit is to say how horrible the other parent is, why?
Do you think he was speaking down on Mel to the kids?
Yeah, because the kids said it. The kids said it.
Yeah, I think the one thing that like as far as the children, what popped out was when the little boy was trying to talk and it's like if y'all will be together, then I won't have to cry so much. And I was just like, oh no. That was it was hard to watch that. And then Sugar Mama, it's just like you can see the kids really love their father. And I think that Mel really loves him. I think she just was tired of being embarrassed. What are your thoughts with that? Marta does weaponize his children. And I do think a lot of men do that. I think a lot of some of the behavior that we saw from him, I think that's why some black men like stealth women, because they can control how she moves and like, okay, well, if you have this small child and I don't help you, how much are you really going to be able to do? And you're going to get tired at some point. You're going to want some type of reprieve so I can just do whatever I want to do and hold you to a different standard. Because I'm going to say the thing that stayed with me was how Marcel was acting about Tisha when she did the pregnancy test. He's just like, well, now I'm gonna be thinking what's going on. It's like, why is that the first place that you went? Like, this is weird. Like, why go there first? What's your feedback, Miss Page? And then we'll wrap up in 15 more minutes because that'll put us right at the 2 hour mark, 2 hour and some change. I don't hear Miss Page, so she may be on mute. Kenny, I do want to thank you for joining. Miss Knack, thank you for joining. Everybody that is in
Can you
here,
hear me?
yes. Yeah.
Okay, so my opinion still stands. I think all the men are trash on this show. Um,
Do
I
you think
think
so? Out of all the men, rate them like from the worst to the most tolerable.
okay. I think the person with the best husband on this show is Stormy. After Stormy's husband, I would take Tiffany's husband.
Big Lou?
Yeah, I would take him. I would take him over the other three. You got Tiff. Yeah, I would take him. I would, like I said, my number one is Stormy's husband. Like, I don't know the new girl because, like I told you, I stopped watching it. I think Tiffany's season. I don't watch that show. I can't support it. Like, I don't want to see women oppressed, and that's oppressing to me. I want to see women flourishing. If they did a show where the women on that show were coming together and they were doing real estate and executing business plans, absolutely, let me watch that, then I can support it. I can't support women going at each other, but the men are going with each other trying to
But isn't that just art imitating life? Like we often talk about how men can stay on code. They can do the bro code. They can Megatron in deviancy. I mean, even with, let's say, the whole stuff that's happened with Diddy and other people, allegedly. Um, you see more men kind of coming out, and there's like always maybe one to two women, just like with Epstein. Like the dudes that were doing the worst were typically men, but they did have women that were kind of handling things.
but
So
I don't, like I said, every male that has one of these kind of schemes has to have a woman behind the scenes that's doing something. It's some hand in the pot that causes the person doing the evil deed
mhm,
to be hidden under the cloak of protection. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely, yeah.
when you look at people getting abducted, right?
Hmm.
We always teach children 9 times out of 10, if you run to a woman, she'll give you some help, right?
Hmm.
That's not always the case because you have women who are sent just to lure young women, just to
Hmm.
lure children. Because we are taught to let our guard down because it's a lady. She's innocent. She's not going to harm you. That's what we're taught. You
Mm,
know, all of this is conditioning, all of it.
yeah. Mhm.
And we are conditioned from the time we are like 4 or 5 years old when we first hear our first fairy tale book that says happily ever after, right? But everybody has a different definition of what their happy is, and everybody has a different definition of what their forever is. You understand what I'm saying? Because some people were meant to just die out of your life, not die in the reality, but to die out of your life. They were not meant to go on to the end of your life. And sometimes we are taking seasonal lessons and
Mm,
making them a lifetime lesson. Some people were supposed to be dropped off 6 months ago,
right.
6 years ago, 7 years ago, but you hanging on to the cancer that's killing you.
Do you think, again, so looking at the women that are on here, all of them were, very pretty, very attractive. Most of them are business owners. They had a lot of upward mobility. It did seem a bit odd how all of the women um diminished a piece of who they are or how they show. Like Stormy didn't. I didn't see that from Stormy. But outside of her, it felt like everyone was shrinking, even Tiffany. Like, she's very rude and uncouth, but she still was playing this silly game with her husband, like, oh my God, I just want us to have a baby together. And then, like, the whole time she was pregnant, she did the whole, there's a difference from somebody like loving on the baby and just trying to make things happen versus it was very clear that she wanted the world to know that she was pregnant. Um, okay, girl, whatever. Big, what's his name? Big Lou, like, he's away from home a lot. So I don't know what the arrangements are with that, but I don't what I what I found odd was only Melody left her husband when gauging out some of the behaviors. They all have offenses that if the wife left, like, I would not blame them at all.
But see, that's what I was saying. Like, what bothers me about the marriage conversation is marriages can be very different for everybody. Like, you have some marriages where swinging is included, and then you have some marriages where the wife stays at home. Then you have some marriages where everybody pitches in for the greater good of the family. Then you'll have the relationship where the mom is the one out working and the father is staying home. You know, it's a whole lot. And then you have, of course, the 50-50 marriage.
That just seems
Or
blasphemous to me. And I'm not trying to, like, berate. People do whatever is best for their household. And I understand, again, with like finances and inflation and different things like that, you may need your wife to put in just as much as you do. But to me, then at that point, you definitely do not get the opportunity to lord over a person. And like, I'm going to do everything that you do plus kids and all the other stuff. Like, it's a dub for me. It's a no for me, dog. I'm not with it. Damn the light bill foolishness. Like, if all you can do is help pay for a light bill, we both don't need to be dealing with each other. So I do believe, um, like London said, where Martell weaponizes his children, I do see that same dynamic where women are weaponizing their marriages and also not being 100% truthful. Because whether we like it or not, I think the marriages that we are seeing on this show are more realistic than some of the other things that we've seen. We do see where, there's the scuffles or the finance issue, education, and where the kids are going to be moving to make, the best quote unquote uh, choice for your children. Like even with Kiki, I could appreciate the way that Stormy was so enduring to her and recognizing like she didn't vilify her. It was more like I want to help her. Um and then again, like the exotical, um, I just found Tiffany to be very hard to digest. Very, to a point where it was just like, now girl, really? So I'm grateful that people were willing to put their marriage and things out there like that. I would not feel comfortable doing that at all. Do you feel like they are gaining something by being this open outside of monetary gain? Because I'm sure they're probably doing well now.
Um, I can't, because the lens of the show is skewed in such a negative light.
Hmm.
Um, I can't say they're gaining anything but more publicity, so that in the event that something like an affair happens, it'll
Hmm.
be more eyes. You understand what I'm saying? So, um, the paparazzi catching Martell, or Maurice doing something that they're not supposed to do when they're visiting Atlanta, because they do that often, the likelihood of them catching that and then it being blasted all over the place is higher. So for
Okay.
them, they have to determine whether or not it's good for them or not. And
But wait a
I
minute,
would person
you just said something, and I want us to hit on this before we get too far. What did you think about one, the trips to Atlanta, especially after what happened, and two, how did Marcel convince his wife to allow him to go to Africa by himself? Like that was wild to me.
let me tell you something. Tisha is willfully ignorant, and it allows her to sleep at night. Um she has to feed into the delusion that I have this perfect marriage. I have everything that you want. And this is what she throws into women's faces. Even though you're throwing a pile of horse shit in somebody's face, you still think you're good because you got a bag of horse shit. So that's what Tisha likes to do. So she likes to use her marriage as a weapon, because the likelihood of her throwing it in someone else's face and them being married is low. You understand what I'm saying? If marriage was more common, women wouldn't throw it in another woman's face. You only and then it's you only throw stuff like that in someone's face if you're unhappy. Nobody is envying an unhappy relationship.
Facts.
Nobody's going to envy that.
Right.
Nobody's sitting there and saying, "Oh, I want to be that level of miserable today." Nobody's waking up with that. However, with
So So let me ask this, because if we had to go through some of the shows, what is it? The first reality was what, the Real World, in which Tammy was on there, and the David guy, and you had the essay implications. From there you start having the Basketball Wives, Love and Hip Hop. Now we have this Married for Medicine, Love and Marriage in Huntsville. Do you think the way that relationships are being pushed out, that one, they're healthy, and two, are people able to really be honest? Are they just putting on for camera?
You got to ask yourself, are people doing that in real life? I think this is a form of art depicting real life, whereas a lot of the situations for
Hmm.
me, if in real life, if we are not friends, I'm not going to sit and try to go to a brunch with you. That's not what I'm doing.
Right.
Because you could spontaneously combust and be on fire, and I wouldn't pour a drop of spit on you at all. You could just continue to burn. I'm serious.
You won't. Well, you know what? No, I know you're serious, but I also know that I know your heart. So if if that's happened, the person has probably been atrocious in their behavior, and I
And
think that's
that's
what
what I'm
I'm
saying.
trying
If I don't like you,
to. Mhm.
I'm not going to be in the same space with you. And see, this is where the reality stops and the scripted television starts. And that's when
I
they
will
go,
say, for me though, their friendships seem a lot more genuine than some of the other shows, like Real Housewives of Potomac. Like you can literally tell that these women are in the same social circles. And
girl, don't
it's
even bring.
a lot of crossover. With that, since I guess Huntsville is a pretty small town, right? Um, do we think let me ask you this, let's not even do you think, if a person cheats, do you owe them the opportunity to fix that? And is cheating just an absolute no go, or can you cheat respectfully?
I'm going to say you could cheat respectfully. I'm going to say the person that is the cheater is something within them that they have to fix. And
Mhm.
I'm going to say the person that's being cheated on, they have the opportunity to stay or go. Those are the things that I believe. The person who is the cheater has a responsibility to protect the person that they're cheating on, whether it's protecting them from STDs, protecting them emotionally so that this coleslaw huzzy won't come and be on social media saying, I got a baby by your husband, and calling the phone when we riding to go out of town.
That was wild. The way that she's like, put Martell on the phone. I was just like,
Girl, her voice
"Wait,
box would have been ripped through that phone, baby. It see, like I just be wanting to one day have an opportunity to be the Tasmanian devil that God made me to be. I just really
not
I
you want the purge to come."
I just like it's for the most part I just stay on my sunny side, but boy, when that nice cold breeze come blowing, I love that little hussy too, because she comes out and she is a whole hot ham of a mess. But you asked for it.
That I think more than anything, I think what I've learned from this is I do believe that Black women do think that Black men are the prize. I think because we think they are the prize and they tend to be the person that can quote unquote control marriage. I think we have a lot of men weaponizing very normal things like monogamy, um, and or being able to compete with your peer and not with your wife. Um, I think because the stock and the skill set is so low that a lot of women that should not be dating particular people are willing to date down, to say they have a man, my man, my man, my man. Um, I don't think it's healthy. And I think it is a level of delusion or delulu that I don't think a lot of women can tolerate. Kimmy is of a particular age. We see her mom. Her mom's a whole nut. Um, she struggled with like her lisp and pronunciations and respectability politics. Like she's got like all the bingo. Part of Divine Nine and Pretty Girls Wear Pink or whatever they say for them. It's a lot of subtleties that if you don't know what you're looking at, you will miss it. But is very much giving the black boule. That's what I
Oh,
received.
Kimmy.
Not only Kimmy, no, Tisha for sure. I, I I don't know one woman on this show that has really stepped into how powerful she really is. They
I
all,
think Mel has.
the same person that was trying to get pictures with somebody and talking about, I think I want to get married outside the next time. That Melody, the Melody that had that baby after that man was cheating, the Melody that married that man before he was
But see
already
that
cheating.
thing that's the part that I can't judge, right?
Hmm.
They have a history. And like I said, I don't think that um Mel would have gotten a divorce had this not been so embarrassing in public.
Hmm.
Um I think she would have been playing the same game that Tisha did. Even though the public thinks you're stupid. So I can't say that Mel was wrong because maybe she was doing the right thing for what she thought her marriage was. I don't know what kind of pillow talking he was doing. I want my family back. I don't want you to go. I'm so sorry. I don't know what he said when the cameras was off.
Right,
Only the two of them know that. So
right.
that girl got pregnant by her husband. She was not pregnant by another man in that house with her husband. She was pregnant by her husband. So that's something that I don't know transpired between the two of them. Like I said, Sugar Mama would have been in the vacuum and she the cutest little thing. I love little Sugar Mama. But I'm sorry, I wouldn't have had her.
I definitely can understand where you're coming from. I just she's supposed to be here. And you could tell like when she found out she was pregnant, they were on the camping trip and she was rubbing her stomach. I was just like, she wants so badly for her husband to be a stand-up guy. And it was sad that after all of the investments that she made and when she walked away, all of the sudden she had value and all of the sudden, well, really, we did this for her. And we was just like the level of delusion that it takes for a man to try to claim the credit of his divorced wife. I don't know. I don't know who's worse. So we're gonna close out because we're right at 2 hours and 30 minutes. Give me, we know you like Courtney. Um, if you had to tell a young woman how to avoid Maurice or Montreal or Martell, what would you say?
To avoid a Maurice or Martell.
Yeah, to like not like either not date or some of the signs because I'm wondering if a lot of women may not have the signs specifically if you're not around a bunch of men, right? So,
Don't ignore your intuition, because I believe your intuition for all the ladies speaks to them.
mhm,
And a lot of times we ignore that weird feeling that we have because we have completed the picture, right?
mhm,
Women have that ability to take something and give it a starting point and then complete the story. They haven't figured out what the pages are in the middle, but the story is already the end. And whatever the end is, that's what it is. But we have completed the story. So stop completing the story and go based on someone's actions, not the words that they say. Because somebody can come out and say the sky is green and grass is blue. If you never take an opportunity to look down or up and you're just looking straight forward and you're going by what they're telling you, you're
mhm.
not even evaluating whether or not, when you look up, these are the two colors that I see. This is what I see. The clouds are white, sky is blue.
Yeah.
And then when I look down, the grass is brown, the grass is green. You know, you can see those colors in the grass.
Mhm.
But if I never take an opportunity to look up or down because I'm going based on what somebody's telling me, I'm walking around blind.
Yeah.
You know, you're listening to what they're programming your brain to believe, and
Right.
your intuition is rejecting it. And a lot of times when our intuition rejects something, we want to believe in the opposite so hard that we're delusional. So that would be my advice to young women. Don't complete the story. Do it chapter by chapter. And if that chapter is closed and that part of your book is empty and it's gone for that person, let it go. Let it go. Complete that chapter and move on to the next. Don't waste your time in completing the whole book, and everything in between is a damn lie because you done sat and listened to him. The sky's purple. Don't look up. Just trust me, the sky's purple.
I
And
I I will have to say, I've told you this several times, just like when you came into my life and how we met and how we talk, has just been a blessing. It really has. And I know that you are a mom that loves all the babies. You are a nurse that loves all of your patients. You are the friend that you love all your friends, and you have a really good heart. And I would say I love the way that you love your daughters, and also spending time on platforms like this that may be able to help, because the goal is this, is like, if you are in a relationship where the man is unable, via words and actions, to show that you are the prize, you probably need to get away from this person. It would probably serve you. And I like how you said, don't finish the story. A lot of times, if you are a Disney girl like I was, like the story of Little Mermaid for me now is absolutely frightening. That this girl left her father and her castles and her sister to go talk to a man, but oh, I can't talk to the man because my voice is gone. But I just saw you and just thought, oh. So it's like, how are we being conditioned that men are the prize? What are the women that we see in relationships, be it a Tisha or Robin from Real Housewives of Potomac? We are often given the directive that as long as you got a man, my man, my man, my man, it doesn't matter how you got him, it doesn't matter how he treats you, but you can stick out your chest because some man has decided that you are worthy. And I think that of all things, if we could just let women know you're worthy on your own. I will hit the Saturday Night Live. You're good enough, you're smart enough, and doggone it, people like you. Like you have to get in the mirror and start loving the person that's looking back at you more than any outside entity. And if you are in a healthy boundary relationship, your partner is not going to be mad at you for being your truest self and doing things for your highest self. I believe the better and stronger we are independently, it makes our partnerships more valuable. I don't. Did she fall asleep on me?
Mm-mm.
Okay, girl. I was like, no, she did fall asleep on me. But no, I am very grateful that you came up. I look forward to you coming up more. I want to thank Knack, London, um,
QLs, Kenny,
Kels, Kenny.
Misha, SJ,
Yes, yes.
and
London,
my boo boo Chica.
chicka bang bang boom. Yep. So
Mm-mm.
I hope everybody has a great night. Don't forget, if you are a fruitcake or drink the mud water, shows tomorrow. If you have an idea that you want me to cover, you can put it in the comments here. Again, we are just letting ourselves see where this channel is going to develop. The only thing that I have to commit to is showing up on Tuesdays at 6. We may do some different days as well, because there are a lot of people that I know within this YouTube world that I would love to have them come up and continue to bless us. But I have to say, no business like show business, but I absolutely love being a Black woman. I think we are just the bee's knees. I think that we are exceptional, fantastic, phenomenal. But the one thing I want us to realize is that we are also people, and you have a right to be tired. You have a right to say no. You have a right to serve yourself first. Anybody that would not appreciate that, they probably shouldn't be in your life. You come first, even before our crumb snatchers. And yes, we take care of our children, but keep your own identity. Don't just be a mom. You can happen to be a mom. Oh, church and how it impacts Black women. You know what? That probably is the one that we need to do next, because swallowed. Have you been swallowed up? I was like, sir, really? And that's a mega church. And their minister literally was playing in their face. Swallowed. Have you been swallowed? Yeah, we will definitely talk about how the church impacts Black women. Yes, we will be talking about deprogramming. I don't like the term decenter. I like for people to center themselves. Like, you are the king and queen of your own universe, and nobody can control how other people treat you if you don't treat yourself with the right amount of respect and reverence. And I think the more that we realize that we are indeed the prize and these knickknacks are optionals and not necessarily necessary, I think the XYs will self correct. But I just want to see Black women safe, loved, protected, elevated, and having space to do this thing called life together, and giving each other the grace that we need, because we're all still just people, right? Just trying to spiritual beings having a human experience, trying to better ourselves in the world. You agree? You agree?
I agree. And you have a wonderful night. Like I said, it's amazing talking to you once again. And I thank you for your friendship. And I
Oh,
look forward to seeing where you go with your Tiffocracy channel.
thank
Right.
you. We're gonna be big things. We got big things coming. I want to give old Tabitha Brown. I'm gonna have a
Okay.
blessing like that, because baby, when I tell you, or Stephanie Perry, where she's out of the country doing her greatest thing. Like I said, I love how YouTube shows so many different ways that we can show up in the world. I love that for us. I love the representation, and I hope that we're going in a direction where women are fully fulfilled with who they are, and they just happen to decide to do life with another person. But that's not a it's not a destination in the part of your journey. It's just a part of the journey. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Night, night, everybody.
Good night.